And we're live. It's happening. It's getting real. Looking forward to jamming it on the podcast, jamming it up with you on the podcast today, Phil. And for those who are listening, this is our first podcast episode on the new Marketing Without Rules podcast. I'll probably do an intro after we finish up and kind of let everybody know what we talked about. But I'm really excited. Phil really needs no introduction in the junk removal space. He's become quite well known for his coloring outside the lines and really making an impact in his community. But Phil, really looking forward to having you here today.
Oh, man, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me. I know this is the inaugural podcast for you for this topic, so super stoked.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. So, like I said, a lot of people know PJ. He goes by PJ, goes by Phil. A lot of people know PJ in the groups, and he's kind of made a splash by talking about some of the different things that he's done. So, PJ, let's dive right into it. Let's get right into the good stuff here. Give people a little background, and we'll dive right into some actionable stuff that you're doing that other people can do.
Yeah, I was a union cement mason, for 20 plus years, built roads and bridges. And when the economy crashed, I went to work for a Junk King franchise who a friend of mine from high school owned. And that didn't go very well. I ended up over at 1-800 Got Junk, which went a little better for me. But that's how it all got started.
Amazing, amazing. So you got your feet wet in the junk removal space, and then now you have your own company, and you're really taking over Sonora. So talk a little bit about that, and then let's dive into. I think let's start with restaurant takeovers and whatnot, but we'll kind of ramble through a lot of the different stuff that you're doing.
I was in the Bay Area, Monterey, Santa Cruz area during when COVID kicked off, and um, caught some employees stealing some jobs, and we let them go, and it pretty much ended up just closing us down during COVID. And I had moved to the mountains to be with my girlfriend, now my wife, and there's not a lot of people up here. 55,000 people in our county. I think 10,000 in our largest city. So starting a junk removal business in that area was going to be difficult, right at best. Traditional marketing methods, SEO, Yelp, Google Ads, all of that stuff is helpful, but when you don't have a really large pool, of customers to choose from, you really have to go after them in some different areas. So we kind of just were forced into doing finding some different ways to get the phone ringing.
Amazing. Yeah, I think
So
it's. I mean, that's going to be a theme here. Is so many people. We're an agency. I run an agency. We do websites. We do ads. We do SEO. All that good stuff. But so many people sit back and they just want to gather. They want to be cashiers and they just want to check out. Oh, cool! Here's another item coming down the conveyor belt. I'll check it out and collect my cash. You got to be a hunter to really dominate in any business, and you've been forced to do that. I think because of your location and your population. But in the path of you doing that, in the process of it, you've uncovered some stuff that anybody can use anywhere. This could be done in a population of 3 million. This could be done in a population of 20,000. And there's so much benefit here. It takes work. It takes thinking. We're going to get into some of this stuff, but I love that, and I want to highlight that throughout this. That's kind of the topic of this podcast: is let's be a hunter, not a gatherer. Let's get out there and make shake the trees and don't wait for the apples to fall.
yeah, I think I mentioned it to you the other day. Looking back on some of the things we've been doing, we don't have a choice but to own the market share, like all of it. We don't have an option to get a piece of the pie. We don't have that option to stay in the traditional marketing areas and just get what comes to us. That's not an option.
Yeah,
So, looking back on the last year or so, this is just really something that everybody can do. It's free. It's really time consuming. Don't get me wrong. I spend a lot of time doing this, but it's free.
yeah.
So
It's an
literally
investment
anybody
of
can do it.
you're kind of meshing the, and this is my favorite marketing is meshing the digital and the personal, right? Because you're doing a lot on Facebook. I think where I really started picking up on what you were doing was Facebook giveaways. So you were taking stuff that you were getting from jobs, you were posting them on your Facebook page, using it to grow your following there, but also just to get engagement there, get engagement in the community groups, and it's grown to so much more. But can we start back at the beginning, and those baby steps that you took?
Yeah, it actually first started when I was sitting in a brew pub having a hamburger and a beer. It was a brewery and it was dead. My hamburger was excellent. My beer was excellent. So I took a picture, I posted it, I tagged them. They, they obviously they shared it. We gained some of their followers and some engagement. That's kind of what kicked off our whole thing. The giveaways were um, forced on me as well. Um, where I came from in the Bay Area, all of this stuff, these were sales items, right? This stuff was just going out the door as quick as we could get it.
Yeah.
Well, up in the mountains, they're a little more frugal and nothing was selling. I mean, nothing. So, I had a garage full of stuff and I just decided to start giving it away for that reason. I was just tired of storing it.
Yeah.
And that took off, and it's just really gained some traction for us. Um, the community absolutely, they adore that.
Yeah. So
Everybody likes free stuff, right?
can we break that down? So what I'm hearing is we're going to hit the brew pub here in a second, because that's a whole thing to itself. But you had this garage full of stuff. Everybody in junk removal gets stuff, that you can either sell or give away or keep. That's half the beauty of the job, right? But you had this, you were kind of forced into giving it away. So how did you run that giveaway? My understanding is you would post it up and then people would comment and you choose a random winner, right?
We would just have them pick a number. The first one was pick a number between 1 and 20. Now we're picking numbers between 1 and 1,000. So it really just took on a life of its own. But like everything else, it kind of runs its course as well, right? You know, all of these ideas, while they're great, they're not, you need to keep evolving, right? The giveaways were really, really good for us, and we still do them occasionally, but we've kind of moved on from those a little bit, and we've got more into the networking stuff with the other businesses and the takeovers and all of that stuff.
But would you agree that it is an excellent way to get the community's attention is to start with that and a really easy way to do it?
Absolutely, and it's not just junk removal companies that can do that, right? Like restaurants can give away food. Everybody has a product,
Yeah.
so it's just a matter of getting some eyeballs on the free giveaways.
Yeah. Amazing. So just to recap for everybody, you can go out, you can take that side table or that, bike, the kid's bike or whatever it is that you get off a job. You can put it up on your business page. You're going to say, hey, we're doing a giveaway. Comment below with a number between one and whatever. You're then going to go through and you're going to pick a number. I don't know if you did this, PJ, but you can do this live as well to get extra engagement. And then you
Mhm.
can just say, hey, we drew it out of the hat. We did it through a random number generator, and it's number 20. And boom, number 20. Report to the front desk, and we'll give you your item
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
So it's anybody can do this. It's a fantastic way to get going. And I saw your momentum grow through this. One thing that I don't know if you did, but we did this when we were starting. You can share these into Facebook groups as well, like the community groups. And you're not selling. Like so many junk removal companies, so many contractors, they go and they're like, hey, we build decks, we do junk removal, we do trees, and we're the best, and we're insured, and blah, blah, blah. No one really cares. But if you're going in and giving away something, that is something that people can latch onto because there's a selfish motive now. This is something they actually benefit from with no outlay aside from just pressing a number on their phone.
And it'll also get you into some of those groups that won't let you post your junk removal.
Yeah.
They might not let a business post in that group, but the giveaways are different. So that got us into some of the groups that we couldn't get into, and that's a pretty big deal. Those exclusive groups that don't let businesses in, they're ripe for the picking, right? So it was a really good way for us to get in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't spam the groups, guys. It's not helpful to anybody. Give things away, add value,
Right.
make it happen. So love that. So you started getting the community's attention. You started going. You say you don't do them as much anymore, but let's go to the brew pub idea, and start going down the progression because I think it's really important. You are where you are now. But you started back doing giveaways, and anybody can go out tonight. You can be posting this as you're watching or listening to this podcast, whether you're live or you're doing it, after the fact. You have something that you can give away. You can go find something in your storage room that maybe wasn't from a junk job, and you can do this, and you can take action and be a
Absolutely.
winner.
I've given stuff away right out of my living room.
I love it. How'd your wife feel about that?
Well, it depends on how the living room's looking at that particular month. Sometimes it gets a little stacked up with stuff, so she's not so bummed.
There you go. I love it. Cool. Let's move to restaurants.
Yeah, the restaurant thing was a big deal for us. So that really took this to a next level. So we started doing these. I'm a foodie, so I'm always at a restaurant anyway. And I'm kind of a people person, so once you frequent these places a little bit, you get to know the managers, the owners, and all of that. So we just started networking with all of the places that I went for lunch. Really, I mean, we didn't do anything special. I heard one of the business owners at a local pizza place talk about wanting to do some UFC fights, but they were too expensive. It's about $1,200 to get it in his restaurant.
Hmm.
So I approached him with the idea, let's get the fight. Let's sell some VIP tables. Let's see if we can get the fight paid for through these VIP tables before we even start. And it worked. We did it, and that's just the UFC fights are fantastic. We've got our drink coasters out, and we get a good couple 3 weeks worth of marketing blasts out from everybody. Um, it's going really well. Our Chamber of Commerce took notice, um, and it's looking like they might make some moves to instead of doing business mixers, they're going to start doing some of these business takeovers. So our chamber is 105 years old. So for them to change something that they've been doing it for 105 years is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you are already doing some takeovers, right? Like
Oh
outside
yeah,
the chamber, like
yeah,
you're doing that on your own.
yeah. I'm doing it on my own page. The chamber is going to bring uh, some more eyes. They're gonna fund some ads and run some radio spots and stuff like that. So our name's going to get blasted out on the radio every week for free. All of these, we were on every slot machine in our local casino for a month, our logo, all for free. All of this just from the little market networking efforts.
Yeah,
I don't
huge.
think of it as much as marketing. I'm kind of networking on steroids.
Yeah, it's
It falls in the
blending,
marketing category.
everywhere you can go. Now, talk about the coasters. You briefly touched on that. I happen to know what they are, but for those who are listening, talk about the coasters and how you're getting those in restaurants and bars.
The coasters are actually really easy to get in a restaurant and bar. It was actually one of the business owners where we do the UFC fights. It was his idea for the coasters. Actually, it wasn't even mine. But restaurants and bars, they operate on a really 10% gross profit margin. It's really low. They
Yeah,
just want free stuff. I haven't come across anybody that has said no to coasters yet. Just taking a stack and they're happy to put them out.
so for those
But
listening, you basically had Pat design up some. I think Pat's listening right now. Actually, I saw him just drop a like. So hey, Pat.
oh,
But so that I'm following and people are following here, you got Pat to design coaster design, and then you get them from Vistaprint, or where do you get them? But they're with your logo on them.
no, if I don't get them from Bristaprint, I get them from somebody else, but
Okay.
somebody like Vistaprint, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just designed a nice little beer coaster. I think it says, "Now that you're drinking, you should start thinking about getting rid of your junk."
Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty good, and we've got quite a few leads from those coasters.
That's
They
amazing. So
really, really
how
work.
many coasters do you go through a month, and do you have like a route that you do every month, and you top everybody up?
I don't have a route that I do every month. I stopped doing it for a little while because it was getting a little pricey for me. I
Hmm.
finally found a new outlet.
Yeah.
I think I'm getting them for about 9 cents or 10 cents a piece now.
Nice.
Um, so we're ramping that back up.
Amazing. Would you be able to share where you get them from?
I don't remember the site. Actually, Pat would know if he's in
Cool.
here. He could he
Cool.
could
Yeah.
chime in, but
Pat, maybe drop me a
um,
message and I'll include it in the notes after. Kevin does this as well. Kevin said a bar owner told me that free coasters are like gold. It's such a
yeah,
neat idea. I was just reading through my notes before we jumped on, and Ron Massey, I think it was, he does something like that with his softball teams, local softball teams. He gets a bunch of softballs with his brand on them from Alibaba, and then he just gives them to all the kids. And so every kid takes home a business card for his business. That they can bat around and throw around the yard.
that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah, but
there are a
those
few
things stick,
people.
right?
There are a few people that have. I've got a lot of people in my inbox weekly.
Yeah,
John Kiefer out of Florida with Keeper's Junk Removal. He's really jumped in like full force,
yeah,
and he's doing some stuff that's really fantastic and actually inspiring me. I reached out to him the other day. I'm just like, dude, I am doing this next year. His Christmas thing was fantastic. He
amazing.
takes these little things and just and just ramps them up, and they're fantastic. I think he's still word of mouth as well.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the perfect scenario for that guy, right? I mean, it'll work whether you're word of mouth or you're spending 10 grand a month on Google ads, it'll work for you. But for somebody who doesn't have an ad budget, this is just, it's just there. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's
Well, and
awesome.
here's a little tidbit too for people listening. You mentioned, if you don't have an ad budget, or if you do, if you're doing SEO or ads and you're doing this stuff on top, everything will convert better because people know you
Yeah,
more. And when they see your ad, they're like, "Oh yeah, I saw your coaster, or I saw your business takeover, or I saw you doing this, that, or the other thing." It increases your conversions mega. So
absolutely.
it's
And
a big
I
deal.
don't know, it's doubled our leads. So it's doubled our leads, and we convert them at a higher rate, even though we convert kind of at a high rate anyway. We convert them at a really high rate because they're kind of already sold.
That's amazing. Yeah, very cool. My camera just blipped out here. I am
So
still
that
here, but we may go cameraless for a second. Um,
okay.
Amazing, PJ. This is so valuable for people. Um, Talk a bit about. I'm going to switch gears here. You're doing a lot of really big cleanouts. You showed some crazy pictures and video of you like using a zip line across a gorge and all that kind of stuff. How do you land these jobs, and what could someone do to? I think at the core it's networking again, but talk to us about that.
Well, those are with the nonprofit. So I belong to a nonprofit that cleans up illegal dumps.
Amazing.
And that's what all that comes from. Matter of fact, we were nonprofit of the year for California District 5 this year. California District 5 is as big as some states.
That's
Um,
crazy.
Senator came down, gave us an award. It's just been I mean, we were best new business of 23, best junk hauler of 24. We got nonprofit of the year for our nonprofit. We just got citizen of the year. Uh, so then it pays off. Well, it just, there's the fruits of our efforts, right?
Giving back to the community. I think it was Zig Ziglar. I might be misquoting this, but you help enough people and you'll never want for anything in your life. And that's what you're doing by
Absolutely.
helping the local business owners. That's what you're doing by helping the nonprofit. How did you connect with that nonprofit, or is it yours?
Oh, not mine. When I left the Bay Area, I was heavily involved in cleaning up homeless camps and river cleanups and that kind of thing. So when I got up into the mountains, I looked to get into that immediately.
Hmm.
So once I joined all the local Facebook groups, I saw somebody that was cleaning up an illegal dump in a cul-de-sac, shot him a message real quick, said, "Hey, I'd love to come over and pick up that trash for you." And that was the first job that nonprofit ever, they weren't a nonprofit at the time. They were just pissed off at some illegal dumps and went and cleaned it up.
Yeah,
Um, then they started the nonprofit, and now it's crazy. We do, 600 yards up a skyline, 600 feet, you know, it's pretty crazy.
that's wild. Who's the engineering mind behind that? Is someone in there, or is it just everybody coming together and
Yeah.
figuring it
Yeah, we've got this old guy, Jim. We call him Yoda,
out?
and he does that for a living. All he does is goes to disaster areas and does cleanups.
Oh wow,
So he just got back from North Carolina, and so they do some really big stuff, and he brings that knowledge to us.
that's amazing. That's good to have Yoda around for that sort
Oh
of
yeah,
thing. What are
oh
some of
yeah.
the things that you're looking out for as you head into the next year? Things that you're going to be doing, things that you're picking up from John. What's the outlook here for you guys?
Well, I think we're going to try and grow our TikTok page a little bit. We've got some ideas, and now that we've got a production company backing us, um, we've got some ideas to start doing some more community engagement kind of stuff. Some of the stuff that you see on TikTok, we're going to start doing some of that on our page. We're going to
I
start
like that.
maybe buying some groceries. We're going to start, doing some of that community based stuff. We're actually going to take some cash this year and sink it into that. We're
Amazing.
just going to do community based stuff, and see how that goes. And by community based stuff, I mean we might do a free junk removal for somebody that just
Yeah.
doesn't have the money.
Yeah. Kind of like
We're
the
we're going
roofers
to
doing a free
dive in.
roof. Or,
We're going to dive in hard and see how it goes. I have, I think it's going to go well.
amazing. And pairing it again back to an agency running ads and SEO. brand awareness helps conversions, but the more you get mentioned on social media, the more you get mentioned in news articles with the chamber and everything. That's massive for SEO. Google sees every one of those mentions and ties it all together, and it helps your ranking. It helps you get more leads through your website, through your social media. It all just like lifts everything together. It's really powerful. I love the
And our
community stuff.
Facebook page outranks Load Up and 1-800. So, I think, we're still doing SEO with our old business name as well because we came up here with it. So I
Yeah,
think we take up 5 of the first 5 slots.
that's the goal. Yeah,
It
and
it's
he's right. I
impossible to not call.
I confirmed it before. I kept seeing you say it, and I was like, "All right, let's go see." And it's true. You've got your Facebook page. You've got a couple websites. Showing up. Your website shows up a couple times on there. So it's like the more you guys can get out there and do the work, and get in the community and become mentioned and do cool things, the more that Google will love you, which in turn feeds the whole machine all over again.
And here's the kicker too. We can't go in the community without somebody knowing who we are. So
Yeah.
not only does Google recognize us, but the community recognizes us, and that's a big deal.
Which if
You
Google
know,
went down, you'd still be fine.
right? Absolutely. Right now we're in the holiday season. Everybody's gearing up for parades, and you're going to decorate your trailer and drive up and down the street, for that community support. And I like, why do we only do that at Christmas?
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm trying to do that 365 days a year. You
Christmas all
know,
year round for the
I'm
business.
driving my trailer down the street on social media every day.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a big deal. What's something that we haven't chatted about that we should have chatted about?
I think I think a big a big place where people are missing out is just scrolling through social media with your business page. I think that is just lost. Like there's so much value. If I'm in my neighborhood group and somebody's lost their dog, I'm commenting through my business page. If somebody loses a spouse, we comment through the business page. If somebody needs help, we comment through the business page. And it's invaluable. It's just not enough people do it. I rarely scroll as my personal page anymore.
You are shaking hands and kissing babies on social media through your business page.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How long do you spend a day on it?
I'm up at 5 a.m. 7 days a week.
Yeah.
So I spend a good hour in the morning, maybe even two.
Yeah.
I'm there a couple hours a day for
Just
sure.
interacting with the community.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's gold. I mentioned it in passing there, but if Google went down, you guys would be fine. I'm confident of
We
that.
would be we would be absolutely fine.
Yeah.
We would
And
not
that's a
miss a
beautiful
beat.
thing.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. You're not counting on an agency. You're not counting on Google. You're probably not even counting on Facebook, although you're the most active on there. You've got so
Yeah.
much in the streets cred that you guys would be fine, and that's a
Yeah.
powerful
Yeah.
powerful place to be.
It's what we have going. You can't even buy what we have right now. I was the GM for a 1-800 franchise in the Bay Area, South Bay. Um, and I knew that there was just stuff that we could do different. Um, when it comes to 1-800, basically everything they do is calculated and perfect, really, all the way down to the loss leader stuff, right? But their community spirit was lacking. Obviously the franchise model is about profit over people, and
Yeah,
we just knew that if we flip the script on that and put the people out front, that uh, it would work for us.
yeah, it's a powerful thing. Now, what if someone's an introvert and hates talking to people? What should they do?
Dude, that is me. I have anxiety, panic attacks. Um, I'm not a hugely social person.
Okay.
Um,
So you,
I
men-
go
you
to these.
mentioned that I'm not calling you out. You mentioned at the beginning that you love networking and love talking to people. Is it you love networking because you know what it can do, or you've trained yourself?
Most of my networking's done online. You know what I mean? I'm doing a lot of
Gotcha.
this stuff on the computer, so it's easier for me.
It's
The
perfect for you.
mixers and that stuff were a little difficult for me. I'm getting better, and even doing this, right? Last year this would have been difficult for me, but we're growing and we're growing into our into the space that we're creating for ourselves. Really, we're kind of in uncharted territory here.
Amazing. That's a great point, and I appreciate you clarifying that, because it's you can do so much from your phone without having to talk to people. You're still engaging and getting yourself out there, but you're not having to go, um, and talk to people and go to mixers and networking events. This is the perfect. I'm just kind of thinking like there's absolutely no excuse for you to go do that giveaway now. You don't even have to talk to anybody. You don't have to go,
No,
shake hands and kiss babies in person. You don't have
you
to go to
don't.
storage units.
I laugh with my wife about it sometimes, how somebody who's had such a social anxiety issue their whole life can be this far out there. It's just it's fun. We talked about it on the way down here. Actually, it's funny,
That's
but
amazing.
it's working.
Yeah. Amazing. I agree. It's funny. I've mentioned this whenever I bring up. I even have a blog post of the giveaways we did. We used gift cards. I sent out a cold email to like 150 restaurants locally, saying, laying out the plan. Hey, you give us a $50 to $100 gift card. We'll run it in a giveaway. We'll put some money behind it. It helps you. It helps us. And then you came along and you're doing the same thing. You're giving away items, and they're like, PJ's a man after my own heart. I say that almost daily when I'm talking to people. I'm like, go follow PJ. He's doing it in real time. What I was doing, at a much smaller scale 2 or 3 years ago when we started the business. So it's really fun to
I will
watch.
definitely say that you picked up on this before anybody else did. And when I left all of the junk groups for a while. When I first started talking about this stuff in the junk groups, I was getting roasted.
Mm.
Like, I mean, I was just like, I am out of here. Right. I even blocked some of the people that are probably watching this now. I was just completely over the crap in those groups. But this brings so much value. I just felt like I needed to try and jump back in. I think, like I said, I mentioned John Kiefer. He's doing great stuff. I think, I think the VIX,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
if they used some of these social media strategies, I mean, they're talking about adding a new truck.
yeah.
That's the kind of thing we're talking about with somebody like them. I think, the VIX are obviously just gold when it comes to social media. I mean, they're just, the presence is just it's perfect. So I think that the VIX could really, they could add a truck.
I'll tag him after. I'll say, Matt, watch
Yeah,
this
right.
and
I
get
don't,
on it.
I didn't know if I was going to mention that or not, but I figured, what the heck.
I just chatted with them on their podcast last week, so maybe it'll get me extra brownie points to weave it in, because that would be really cool to watch them do this process. I think I think they're right along the same lines with it. Um,
Yeah.
they've obviously used YouTube quite a lot to their advantage too. So every business has to pick a lane, and you don't have to do. I'm telling this to whoever's listening. You don't have to do what PJ did exactly. You don't have to do what I did. You don't have to do what anybody tells you. Take these concepts, work them into your own recipe, and then just go do it. Go hard.
Right.
I am a firm believer that you could dominate on Craigslist if you did that really well. You could dominate on if you only did TikTok, if you only did Facebook, if you only did a website. Whatever you do really well, you will do well at. And
Yeah.
I think the beauty of what you're doing is people are dying for community now, more than ever. I think COVID showed us a lot of that. But what you're able to do as someone who has social anxiety is you're able to bring that sense of community to people through social media. Everybody loves rallying behind a feel good community story, whether it's a restaurant takeover or that UFC fight or a giveaway. That's something that people can get behind, and they love being associated with that. No one likes to be associated with a business that's posting every day in the group saying, I've got slots open on my schedule. We'll do $100 off or whatever. People love getting behind someone that's building up the community. So it's something that I have to continually check myself when I'm looking at our sales process. It's are we adding value? Are we going out there and making it building that snowball that's just going to keep rolling back down and making our snowman bigger. It's such a
Yeah.
powerful concept.
Yeah. I haven't posted a junk removal photo. I think a couple of months ago I did, just to post one.
What the heck,
Uh,
right?
they really they have no value whatsoever. They're going to get you zero engagement. Uh, they're 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 worthless, honestly.
Yeah, they
I mean,
really they really don't do a whole lot. And the only
unless
people
it's a
that's not
hoarder.
true, PJ. The only people that care about junk removal pictures are you and I and the people that are trying to quote them. And so
Right,
we think it's
right.
valuable.
If it's a hoarder, if it's ugly, obviously that works. But the before and after of the garage clean out, that's getting you're just wasting your time. I mean, as a business owner, time's money, right? I mean, when we're talking about posting on social media, if you're posting 100 times a month or whatever, how many times you're posting a month and you're getting no engagement, you're just spinning your wheels and you're wasting your time. Flip the script a little bit. All I did was read a little bit of stuff on content marketing that kind of got my wheels spinning a little bit and got me thinking outside of the box a little.
Yeah.
But I think you said it a little bit earlier with this digital age now, um, being real is going to have more value going forward. And I
Being
think,
real. Yeah, it's huge.
yeah, we see it trending, right? With whatever social media platform we on, we see different trends, and it's just super important to kind of keep up with all of that stuff, right? Um, uh, there's a reason that it's trending.
Yeah.
So jump in, don't wait. Try and stay up with the times.
Yeah, jump in, do the dances, put your spin on it, right? Put your spin on it, put your brand on it, put the community first, and you'll go so far. PJ, this has been a
Absolutely.
blast. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming on. I know it. We've been through through a few scheduling mishaps, and I think there was a reason because you have a lot more experience under your belt now than we did a year ago, and we didn't catch you before the busy season started again. But this is exciting. I'm excited to join back up in a year and see, all right, cool, what did you do last year? What's working for you
Yeah,
now? Because you're in there,
yeah,
you're in the trenches, and there's some really cool stuff that you're doing.
yeah, yeah. We've got some fun stuff in the pipe next year, so it should be better next year.
I love it. Well, this has been fantastic. Thank you for your time, guys. Reach out to PJ. Don't overwhelm him, but he really is. He really has a lot going on, and he's doing some cool stuff. And as the theme of this podcast goes, marketing without rules is about coloring outside the lines, taking that crayon and going in places that people don't think of because no one else is doing it, and that's what gets attention. Attention is currency. The right attention is gold, and it's so valuable. I'm going to end here with one question from Ryan. Let's just see what he's got. What's the biggest trend for engagement going into 2025? Video, brand awareness, discounts and giveaways. Different things work, but what's the best ROI? PJ, I'll let you hit your thoughts on that one.
I a giveaway is a good thing anytime, especially if you haven't done them. I mean, that's going to work for you pretty much all of the time. As far as what's going to work for next year, you really just got to keep your eye out, just like we were talking about a minute ago, right? You know, how if you're not on TikTok, get one. I know a lot of people aren't on TikTok. There's a lot of trendy stuff on there uh, that can work for you that you can just kind of tweak for yourself and take into your own space. So pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. That's the biggest thing I can say.
Pay attention and take action. If that's the theme that we could land on here and wrap up, it's be a giver, be a hunter, not a gatherer, and get attention and pay attention. PJ, this has been a blast. Thanks so much, and thank you guys for tuning in. Kevin says thanks, PJ. This was awesome. Thanks for bringing the value here.
All right, man. I appreciate you guys. Feel free to reach out. You won't overwhelm me.
I love it. All right, guys, we'll see you next time on the Marketing Without Rules podcast. PJ, stick around. We'll just wrap up off air, and we will see you guys next time.